Hello, my dear friends. I hope you all are doing great. And in my today's class, I'm going to discuss with you about the list in Python. Okay, my dear friends. Okay, and now I will be discussing with you, tell you, my dear friends, about the list in Python. Okay, they are just like you can say that arrays and strings. Okay, and they are simply used to store the data. All right, my dear friends. So let me just give you an example there. So basically over here the thing is happening over here. Let's say these are my marks. Okay, and my marks one are simply I can say marks one is 67.8. My marks two is simply I could say 78.9. My marks 3 is something I could say 56.8, and marks 4, my marks 4 is something I could say 78.8. Okay, like this. But if I want to, change my marks into a single row and I want to print it, then I will be taking the help of list. All right. So lists are basically built-in data types in Python that simply stores the set of values. Okay, my dear friends, this simply stores the set of values, and they can store different elements of different types. Like for example, they can simply store, I can say that integer, they can store float, and they can store strings as well. So for example, let me just draw a marks list named marks, and then let me share that with you. Okay, so basically the thing is that there is the marks, the list is marks, then I will write square braces over here, and there will be, you can say, 24, 45, 78, 98, then 99, then 100. So I have stored all my marks in this list. Okay, my dear friends. So then I could simply, print my marks. Okay, so I will simply be printing my marks. Okay, my dear friends. So let me just run it, and that is how list works in my Python. All right. So let me just show that to you. So yes, it's like 34, 45, 78, 98, 99, and 100. So that is how the list works in Python. But I can also do it over here like print. I will be simply printing the type of my mark. So this will return me whatever the type of my marks will be. So in this case, the type is simply the list because they are stored in the form of list. So I hope, my dear friends, this was clear to you that why we use list in Python. Okay. So instead of declaring 10 variables, 20 variables to store my marks, I am simply using you can say a single variable named marks, and I'm storing the list of marks over here, and then I'm printing my list, and then I'm typing the and then I'm printing the type of my marks. So I hope, my dear friends, this was also crystal clear to you. Okay, so now let me discuss with you another another question. Okay, so my dear friends, list in Python can have mixed data type. That means a single list can contain strings as well as numbers as well as boolean and float values. So it can contain mix of values. Okay, my dear friends. So let me just tell you about that. So let's say there is a student, and in this case I could simply say that there is, let's say, David. Then I will write his age is, let's say, 35, and the value of float is, let's say, 5.36. Okay, then there comes, I can say, Hussein, and in that case I could say that simply its age is, let's say, 27, and let's say like his marks was 80, 78.66. Okay, so that goes like this. So let me just, write this write this student list over here and try to run it and show that to you. Okay, my dear friends. So let's say this is my student. Sorry. This is the name of my list. And in this case, I could say that there is a, let's say, David, and then there is, let's say, marks 34, and then there are 54.78 floating value. Then I wrote over here Hussein, and Hussein simply I can say age is let's say 54, and he got let's say 67.89. All right, so let me just simply print the student. Okay, my dear friends, let me also print the type of student to show that to you, that how it goes. Okay, my dear friends, so let me just run it now. So yeah, so in this case my list is simply printed, like you can say David 3456.78, then it was Hussein, and then it was like that. Okay, my dear friends, so that is how my list works in Python. Okay, so then, so now we have learned two basic concepts about list in Python. That is, lists are simply used to present, a number of values are there, and we can present it in the form of a single, list. And also, list can have mix of data types. That is, you can say there could be string, there could be, there could be numbers, floats can be included in the same list. All right. So then there comes the next term. Let me just tell you about that, my dear friends. So in case of Python, simply there is a term that strings are immutable, immutable, and my lists are simply, you can say, mutable. All right, my dear friends. So in this case, I could say that my strings are immutable. So strings are immutable means, like you can say, you cannot change the elements of the string. All right, my dear friends. So for example, I have declared a string, let's say name is equivalent to, let's say I will write over here Cheshta. All right, my dear friends. So if I have written this name, now I cannot change this name. I cannot change this name to, let's say, Aman. I cannot change this name because it will not print. If I will, simply print the name, it will print me. It will return me the name like this, the first one. Okay, it will be returning me this. Okay, my dear friends. But I can simply say that lists are mutable in Python. Okay, so that means like I can change the element of the list. Okay, so basically all the elements are in the list are given some index. So let's say, my dear friends, this is the index 0, this is my index 1, index 2, index 3, index 4, index 5. Okay, my dear friends. So I can simply say that if I want to change the point at the index 0. So in this case, my dear friends, I will write over here student. Okay, and there is a student 0. And let's say I will change the name to Ramesh. All right, my dear friends. So it will be, when I will be in the end, I will be printing the student complete list. In that case, simply you can say that it will be printed and our list would be changed. So which shows that lists are mutable in Python. All right, my dear friends. So let me just make few changes over here. So let's say this is the thing which goes. Okay. So let's say I do one thing, that is, let's say I do student 0. I will change its value to, let's say, Ramesh. Okay, or let's say I will change it to Christina. All right, Christina. So Christina, I will change it and save it. And if I will run this program, so in this case, I will be again getting Christina, then 34, then 56.78, Hussein, 54, and 67.9. So I will be getting this. So which shows that simply I will write it in the comment section, that simply my lists are, I could say, mutable in Python. All right, my dear friends. So this is the thing which I was getting over here. Yeah, in case of comments, I can second. So yeah, you just need to remember this for now. And comments are like this only. Okay, just save it and run it now. So in this case, I have got this part. All right, my dear friends. So yeah. So now, my dear friends, let me just take you forward to the next part. Hello, my dear friends. So now let me discuss with you about list slicing. So basically that is just similar to the string slicing that we have discussed before. Okay, so slicing could be done like you can say the list name, and then there would be, let's say, the starting index, and to the ending index we will do it like that. All right, my dear friends. So now let me just declare the, the list, basically, let's say marks. Okay, and let's say I'm writing the values of marks to be, I can say that 64, then 33, and then 95. Okay, and then 67, 89, and then let's say 23. All right, my dear friends. So basically, if I will simply print over here marks, and I will do the slicing from, you can say, starting index will be 1 and ending index will be, let's say, 4. So by default, you can say that ending index is not included. The ending index lesser than 1 value is included. Okay, my dear friends. So let me just tell you about that. So for example, I could say that there is a marks, okay, and that is simply equivalent to, let's say, 67, 33, 42, 81, 27, 72. Okay, my dear friends. So in this case, my dear friends, I could simply say that this is, let's say, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So list index 1 to 4 will be basically accessed, and less than 1 index. That means 1 to 3 index would be printed simply. All right, my dear friends, in this case, so let me just run this code to show you how it works. So if I will run this code, yes, it has printed basically 33, 95, and 67. All right, my dear friends. Then let me just tell you about the another term. So let's say this is like, you can say print, and there will be marks, and then it is 1 is 2. So when I will write it like this, it simply means that my list will go from, let's say, I'm writing it like this. So 1 is to like this. Okay, marks. All right, my dear friend. So in this case, it will simply go till 1 to length of, let's say, the marks. All right, so it will print till end. All right, my dear friends. So let me. So in this case, my dear friends, it will be printing like this. Then I will write over here the next thing. Let's say I'm printing. Firstly, let me just run this code and then show it to you how it works. So yeah, it is printing from 33 till the end of the list till 23. All right, my dear friends. Then there comes the next thing, that is, you can say that print marks, and here will be something I could say this till, I can say, the length of, you can say, marks. All right. So in this case, it will be printing from the 0th index to the ending index. That means my whole list would be printed in this case. So I hope, my dear friends, you have. So let me just show that to you. Few more examples. Okay, my dear friends. So yeah, so let me just show that to you. So yeah, so in this case, my dear friends, it will be printing from 1 till end. We can also do the negative indexing in the strings all as well. Okay, my dear friends. So in this case, my dear friends, I could simply say that in the case of negative indexing, let's say, let me just show that to you over here. In this case, my dear friends, my index will simply, let me just tell you. So basically, in this case, my dear friends, my index will simply start from, let's say, it would be -1, then it will be -2, -3, -4, -5, and -6. So if I will be printing from -3 to -1, so simply my -3 and -2 will be printed in the output. Okay, my dear friends. So let me just show that to you in this case. So if I will simply run over here print, and then I will write over here marks, and that too from, you can say that -3 to -1. Okay, my dear friends, and if I will run it, so it will simply print 67 and 69 or 89. Okay, my dear friends, so let's say -1, -2, -3, and -1 will not be included, so 67 and 89 is simply printed, and I'm getting this. So I hope, my dear friends, you have liked this video. And in this lesson, we simply learned about basic introduction about the strings. Lists are also mutable in Python, and also they can store mix of data types. And also we learned about list slicing. That is, slicing can be done from, the, like, we can access different indexing. We can produce some sublists, as well, and we can, from 1 to 3 we can access the indexes, and last index will never be included. Okay, my dear friends. And also we did some about like negative indexing we also did. So I hope, my dear friends, you liked this video, and in my next lecture I will also be providing you with the, some practice problems I will be giving you to do at your home. Till then, my dear friends, bye bye, have a great day, see you soon.